I'm Warren Pohl, one of the co-founders at 33 Shake, and welcome to another episode of the 33 Shake vlog. In today's video, we are looking at huge, massive, great big training volume. We're talking professional level, hours and mileage. Is this something that us amateur athletes could achieve and still keep our jobs? And even if it is it advisable to do it? Well, to find out and answer this thorniest of endurance questions, I turned human guinea pig and subjected myself to four-time world Ironman champion Chrissie Wellington's punishing 28 hours a week training schedule. It was pretty rough. And bear in mind, at the same time, I was still working my full-time job here at 33 Shake. Now, the whole thing was a bit of a blur. I've blotted most of it from my mind ever since. Mindful that this could happen, I kept a diary at the time. So, if you've ever wanted to know what these sort of hours really feel like, particularly when you're trying to combine them with your day job, we have all of the answers coming up right now. Because at 33 Shake, our mission is delivering maximum value to endurance athletes. We do that in these videos by sharing the very best in training, nutrition, mindset and motivation, tips and tricks for your endurance performance. And we do it in store at 33shake.com with our unique natural sports nutrition products. With that said, let's get on with the show. In her last year before turning professional, after winning the age group championships, Chrissie Wellington was training 28 hours a week and holding down a full-time job in central London. Alongside that, all of our amateur excuses of, well, I could go quicker, or I would love to see what I was capable of if I could really just dedicate myself to training, all of those excuses, they just sound a teeny bit hollow all of a sudden. After all, if Chrissie could do it, we can do it. Now, she went on to become a four-time world Ironman champion. That suggests there's some serious grit in there. We've all got some grit. Whether we've got as much as Chrissie, that is debatable. But one fact remains. She absolutely aced this program. How hard could it really be? Pondering this question is quite how I found myself on the phone to her saying, Chrissie, could I borrow your training program? And when she had finished laughing, presumably at me, she composed herself enough to send it over. And she came with a little bit of advice. She said, don't think about 28 hours in a week. Just go from day to day. And so I did. Going to the diary, this is what then happened. So, Monday, this was a 2-hour swim, 50 minutes strength and conditioning, and a 45 to 60 minute bike ride in a working day. 5 a.m, I'm up. This is too early. Stagger into my kit, laid out the night before. 25 minutes of stretching and 10 minutes of meditation comes next. If this sounds like overkill, it's not, believe me, because heavy training is going to raise cortisol and adrenaline levels, which is going to raise inflammation and not help you get training adaptation that you need. So working these in as part of the strength and conditioning time that I need to rack up was a good way to help mitigate any of the negatives that were coming up, because what I was doing here was basically, much more than tripling my regular training load. And as anyone who's ever increased training or speed knows, as soon as you increase load or speed, this is where injury and illness starts to happen. So I needed to be careful. After that, I would take one of our 33 Shake pre and post workout shakes because frankly, it is the ultimate power up and recovery from your biggest sessions and races. And that's exactly what this week was all about. Also, only takes about a minute to make, tastes great, got breakfast out the way, and I am out the door 6:30 a.m. Pool is open, but I'm still 2 miles away waiting for a bus. I had forgotten that even in central London, buses are rare before 7 a.m. So I finally made it to the pool at 7:15. I never knew there were so many insomniacs living in London who loved swimming. I thought I'd get this place to myself. No chance. It was more like human soup than a swimming pool. So I dive in, bear in mind I made a bit of a late start, and with a meeting at 9 a.m, there's no way I'm going to make my full 2 hours already. It was a good job too, because according to this, just over an hour later, I was blowing like a busted airbed. Wobble off to the changing rooms, head for my meeting, where my bad hair and my chlorine pong, despite my vigorous shout, go politely unnoticed. Maybe they were talking about me after I left. 11 a.m, euphoria. I am invigorated and powerful. You know how it goes after a big training session. 14:45, that's 2:45. Despair. I am exhausted and useless. Fall asleep on the sofa in the office. 17:45, work's over, but I'm not. I've still got my cycling block to do. So, into the Lycra, off to Regent's Park, central London's favourite, stroke only, road cycling haunt. And I avoid all competition with anyone. It can get a bit competitive around there. Lots of people love to grab a wheel, slipstream or whatever. No, none of that. I mean, I might have grabbed a friendly wheel, but if anyone was going quicker than I wanted to go, I was keeping it in the tank. This was going to be a long, long week. So at 10 p.m, with cooking, eating, stretching, showering, and let's not forget preparation for tomorrow's training, all done, I was left with 7 hours to fit in 8 hours sleep. Day one, already on the back foot. Let's get to day two, Tuesday. This is a 2-hour swim, a 90-minute bike, a 45-minute run. That's plenty. So 5 a.m, ooh, time to get up. Repeat yesterday's dress, stretch, roll, meditate routine, get myself a shake and head off to the pool. Except this time, learning from yesterday's bus mistake, I hopped on one of the Boris bikes, the hire bikes that are all over central London. This way I could get some bike run miles in and hopefully knock off a little bit of my other training load while getting to and from the swimming pool. 7 a.m, back into the human soup at Swiss Cottage swimming pool. It's not got any quieter, and weirdly, it's also got colder. At 3 kilometres, my teeth are chattering. I pull the pin 45 minutes short for self-preservation. 08:30, bike run to the office, and there I am. Now, normally, you'd feel pretty smug after getting this much training in before hitting your desk. I really don't, because despite getting in 2.5 hours before most people have got out of bed, I am barely half done for the day. 9 a.m, I'm at work in body, if not in mind. 11:30, office sofa, my best friend. I think that means I went back to sleep again. 17:30, back on the bike at Regent's Park, chilly out, but at least it's dry. 17:42, drizzle. 18:09, rain. What would Chrissie do, I think? Well, she'd clearly grit through it. She'd smile and power through it. So I try smiling. According to this, a passing mother then pulls her children closer. Smiling obviously isn't working. 18:28, the drizzle that became rain is now hail. I am the only cyclist still riding around Regent's Park beyond a frozen, sodden hardcore huddling under the entrance to London Zoo, hoping desperately it may blow over. I'm carrying on. 18:50. Numb hands, numb feet. I'm calling time early in the name of sanity and safety. Thank heavens, all I've got left now is just that 45-minute run. Get home, 7:15 this is, 7:15 p.m. Fall into run kit, head out before I can change my mind. And I do remember this, it was the last thing on earth I wanted to do at that minute. But rather excellently, a good friend who's come to stay arrives at this very moment. I'll come with you, he says. 5 minutes later, we are running and chatting as we go down into Hyde Park, around the Serpentine Lake in the centre, and back out to the house. Fortunately, his banter got me through. Patrick, if you're watching this, thank you. 8:30 p.m. Cook, clean, wash, dry, cook, clean, rinse, repair, repeat. I feel rather like Cinderella, but with more lycra. I attempt to be a sociable host, but in reality I am a distracted, shambling, mumbling buffoon. My wife does try covering for me, but I can tell she's concerned. Following day, what do we got? Delightful Wednesday. I feel like I've been training for a year already and it's only Wednesday. 2-hour swim, 50 minutes strength and conditioning, 60 minutes on the bike. At 5 a.m. the alarm goes. It's dress, stretch, roll, meditate, shake, leave for pool via bike run transfer. Now, if this sounds repetitive, it's because it is. I've written in my diary with what looks like a very large, slightly angry exclamation mark next to it. 0700, the diary says human soup with a shot of chlorine, sir. Ooh, don't mind if I do. Clearly the mental state is starting to take a battle here. Anyway, the endless lengths are dreary, I say, but my form and rhythm are improving, which is nice. Whoever knew there are benefits? Malcolm Gladwell's 10,000 hours theory is absolutely sound. You have to do a lot of something if you want to get good at it. 0900 at work, and as the diary says here, I break my no training kit during the day rule. Fortunately, I have no meetings today because I'm running around in a tracksuit and I look like I'm about to take a paternity test on Jeremy Kyle. The rest of the day is a blur. The only memorable part apparently is the emergence of a tick around my eye, which I've only ever had under absolute extreme exhaustion. Brilliant. I think, that's hump day. I'm half the way through. Let's get, actually it's not, it's a 7-day program. What am I talking about? Right, Thursday, rest day. 0700, lie-in, bliss. 0900, I'm at work and genuinely productive for the first time all week. 8 p.m, on the sofa, absolutely over the moon to have nailed 100% of the daily training requirements. I go to sleep dreaming of athletic greatness. I can do this. So what happens on Friday? Friday's prescription is a 2-hour swim, 50 minutes strength and conditioning, 60 minutes on the bike. 0500, as the diary says, why do I not feel rested at all? Before falling deeper into self-pity, however, I remember there are people getting up daily at this time to clean toilets and sweep streets. By comparison, all I have to do is a bit of completely selfish, self-imposed training. I man up and get out the door. Between 5 a.m. and 10 p.m, I think even the diary is getting a bit repetitive, and all I've written is, I could give you fine detail, but honestly, this was a carbon copy of Wednesday, including the tracksuit Jeremy Kyle moment, but without the weird eye tick moment. So at least some small improvement going on. Now we've got to the weekend. No rest here, and for me at this point I think little delight in thinking, yes, it's the weekend, I can do some big training blocks, because I've kind of absolutely done myself in already. Saturday's prescription, a 2-hour swim, a 4-hour bike and a 45-minute run. How exactly did this go? 0630. It's a lie-in. The pool doesn't open till 8 a.m. on a weekend, I've learned. So I'm staying in bed a bit longer. So I get through the regular morning routine and head it out to the pool. I bang out the penultimate swim, apparently with something approaching relish. Maybe I'm starting to enjoy this a bit. Also, there's weirdly a lack of the usual aquatic insomniacs that I've got used to seeing during the week. Maybe they actually do take a line on the weekends, or maybe they're all commuters and they're out of town. 10:30 that day. This is a Saturday, yes. It says, hit the laptop. Strangely, I have a lot of lost work time to make up for. 14:30, 2:30 in the afternoon for the longer bike run. Head off to Richmond Park, London's spiritual home for endurance athletes, where I can merrily roll round and rack up the hours. 7 p.m, session is done, it says in the diary. My wife and I are at friends for dinner. A little note here, I am less than sparkling company. I think I'm probably just trying to go to sleep in the pudding, frankly. So, where are we now? Back to Sunday. Sunday also has a long swim and a long bike, and probably a run as well. At 7 a.m, I wake up out of some sort of nightmare involving swimming pools. I simply cannot face getting in the pool again. 1 week has been enough to make me never want to see another swimming pool. So much so that I swap it for a 2-hour run around central London in the pouring rain. That's how much I didn't want to swim. And when I get in at 10 a.m, I fall on the sofa. The only things beckoning me are a massive brunch from the diary, it says here, and possibly the entire Rocky collection back to back on DVD. Instead, I should be doing another hour on the bike. And plaintively, I say here, it's raining and I'm toast. 3 minutes later, fall into the incredible sleep you only find at the end of serious physical challenges. Anyone who's done a big race or a big training block will know the ones. These are the ones where you get all the weird dreams, you get the hot and cold flushes, your legs are twitching, it's all going off, and you probably sleep until about midday the next day. So that is what it felt like, shoehorning that much training into a working week. Now, my totals, 22 hours and 20 minutes of training with a full working week. No one's saying I was productive in that working week, by the way, but I was present in the office, even if I was shambling around in a tracksuit at times. This is 5 hours off Chrissie's totals, so I did not manage her 28-hour of greatness. However, I think that's close enough to say that you could. You could, if you really had the drive and the determination, the focus and the goal, you could do this sort of training and keep your job. However, this behaviour comes at a huge, huge price, because the rest of your life simply cannot be made to fit unless either you ignore it or you get a clone of yourself to catch up on the sleep that you're going to miss. If you want to throw in family, if you want to throw in social life, if you want to throw in major work projects, it's going to be borderline impossible. It also requires a logistical prowess that even Amazon would envy, because frankly, in a schedule that is this packed, there is no time for a puncture, there is no time for wet kit in the washing machine, there is no time for a broken shoelace. Anything goes wrong derails hours of training, and there is no way there is a slot in the schedule where you're going to get it back. So it could be done, but the chances of you getting this volume and, most importantly, getting quality out of it, as in not just having the time to do the training, but having the time to absorb the training and benefit from it. Because let's remember, it's not training that makes us fitter. Training breaks us down, and the adaptations from being broken down as we recover, that is where we get fitter. So it's highly debatable that you could really sustain this level of training plus a job plus any sort of life, and genuinely be able to fully adapt to all of the training load. There is a very high risk that if you kept this up, you are quickly going to find you're on a fast track to burnout, illness, injury, and exhaustion. But if any of you out there have ever tried anything like this, or if any of you routinely hammer out training weeks like this, and you have full-time jobs, then we would absolutely love to hear your stories. So you could do it if you loved it, but it would probably be really bad for you. Am I ever going to do it again? Absolutely not. No, thank you very much. Instead, I'm going to take a well-earned break. So look, hope very much that you've enjoyed that. I hope it's been helpful and has given you some own thoughts and ideas for your own training, whether you're going to do this or whether you are going to avoid it like the plague. To connect with all things 33 Shake, join us on social media or drop us a line. You'll find all the links in the show notes for this video. And if you're after the very best in endurance nutrition for your cycling, your running, or your triathlon, why not check us out? You'll find all our stuff at 33shake.com.